Hi everyone, and welcome to part 3 of my tutorial on using Git and GitHub with MATLAB. In this part of the tutorial, we're going to talk about what a README file is, why it's important, and how to make one. Okay, so first let's talk about what a README file actually is. A README file is the front page of your project or repository. It contains information and background about the project, as well as info about the datasets that you use. It also contains instructions for using the project, as well as a list of authors, as well as any licensing information that you may have. Let's go ahead and look at an example. This is a project on GitHub that I found that has a very good README file. So we see at the very top, this project has all of their code, but they also have a readme.md file. This .md stands for Markdown, and that's the file type that's used for readmes. So we can see that it has information about the title, some headings, some information about the report, installation instructions, how to use this code, and some example code. This also has information about the datasets and the outputs of this file. Now yours don't have to be this in-depth, but this is a very good example of what a good README file should look like. Additionally, it has information about like the HTML report that this file generates and some options that you can use when running the code. Additionally, this README file has information about citing their work and the list of authors. So this is all the information that the developers wanted to see or wanted to show to anyone who uses their code. And it gives a very good summary of what the code is, what the dataset is that they use, how to use their code, like instructions for use, and information about the authors and how to cite their work. So we can format the text in our README file by using these symbols around our text. So for example, if we want to make a section bold, all we have to do is surround it by double asterisks. If we want to put in italics, we just surround the text in single asterisks. We can also add links, inline code, images, lists, block quotes, highlights, and different levels of headers using the command seen here. I've also linked to a very in-depth page about all the different symbols and commands that you can use when writing your Markdown file. Remember, Markdown is the file type of the README file. So this link here contains a lot of detailed information about different commands that you can use to format your README file. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So if we go to that website that I linked in the PowerPoint, we'll see a very detailed cheat sheet of every Markdown command that we can use to format our text. So this has information on headers, emphasizing text, lists, links, images, code highlighting, among other text formatting options. So we can see, for example, with our headers, the number of symbols that we use in front of our headers is going to change the size of our text. Additionally, we can use specific symbols to either italicize or bold or do a combination of both, or we can even do a strike through by using 2 tildes. One that I want to point out specifically is how to highlight code. So we highlight our code by using backticks. And if we surround our text in these backticks, we can see that in the README file, it becomes like a gray highlight. And this signals that this is to be read as a code block. I would encourage you to go through this page and look at all of the different options for formatting in Markdown so that you can get familiar with them and start to use some of these formatting options when making your own README files. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. So if we go back to the repository that I created in the last 2 videos, I should see the first thing that comes up is my README file. If I want to edit this file, I can easily do that by clicking the pencil icon right here. And that takes me to a page where I can edit my README file. So at the very top, I have a level 1 header that contains the title of my repository. Let's say I want to have a level 2 header that says background. I can add in text that says, for example, this project uses CT data from Mayo Clinic. That will add this line as normal text right below the level 2 header that says background. Now let's say I'm not using CT data, I'm using MRI data, but I want to strike through that CT data. Well, I can just say use double tildes to mark through, or to strike through that CT, and replace it by saying MRI. We're just testing out some of the different functionality. You wouldn't actually do this in a README file. So let's say we have a level 3 header that says authors. If I want my name to be in bold, I could say double asterisks, Garrett Fullerton. And then let's say I want to say I'm from the University of Florida, but in italics. So that would just be a single asterisk, and I could say University of Florida. So we can see that the formatting is applied as we're typing the code, which makes it very easy to look at what we're working with. So once we make all the changes that we want, all we have to do is scroll down, click Commit Changes, and that will update the README file of our code. If we go back to the home page of our code, we can see that these changes have been applied, and they're the first thing you see when you look up your project. All right, that concludes our tutorial on using Git and GitHub with MATLAB. I hope you learned a lot, and if you have questions on anything, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone else on the teaching team, and we'd be more than happy to help you. Good luck with your final projects, and again, always feel free to reach out if you need help with anything. All right, thank you everyone.